Well, baby, you've been on my mind. I think about you all the time. Oh, I want to see your face. I don't make
There you
me
go.
wait.
I don't know. You just said
Pistachios. Pistachios?
Yep.
Pistachio.
You say potato.
They're supposed
I say potato.
They're
You
supposed to
say
help,
tomato. I say tomato.
They're supposed to help with erectile dysfunction.
Let me
Pistachios
give me a
are?
hand.
Pistachios.
Give me a handful of those things.
So I've been,
Right, I already divorced him.
I'm doing like, hey, oh. So I'm thinking it couldn't hurt preventatively, right?
So his name was Ed. See what we're doing here?
Preventatively.
ED? I'm sorry.
ED, Ed.
Look how close we are now. The new setup.
It's kind of weird.
I know,
did
it
not
is.
that.
Shoulder's gonna be okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. Wait, do we fit in the camera? All this ego? Okay.
All right, there.
All right. Are we just going to start rolling? All right. Before we get started, it has been a minute since we have done a podcast.
Just a couple.
And apparently, while I was gone, we redecorated and we're doing kind of a different feel.
Yeah, by we, you mean
Dan.
Handsome Dan.
Handsome Dan. We just got so much exciting news, so much to catch up on, and we will get there. But before we get started, I've got to get a shout out to one of our partners, the AC Hotel Austin South, Hill Country.
Yep.
They're
Brand new. They're right up here
brand new.
off of William Cannon.
That's right. And
Lantana.
Charlotte and them, we're in discussions, in talks right now. They are a big fan of the podcast and being here in Austin. Just so excited to partner with them in their bar, Violet Sky. Violet Sky is on their 5th floor. I might have been there last night.
Yeah.
And it overlooks South Austin landscape. And so we're just really excited.
Yeah.
We're kind of building some momentum, Brandon.
A lot of our guests are staying there. A lot of you stay there pretty often.
I do.
We've stayed at many ACs and always enjoy their hospitality.
And so they are a partner of ours. So we're really excited. And we're going to have some big news in the next couple of months to announce. The podcast is doing some momentum. The final announcement before we get to our amazing guest. In the world of sleep, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of it for a while, and I attended the AADSM and the AASM, so American Association of Dental Sleep Medicine there in Dallas, went to a beautiful conference, and the American Association of Sleep Medicine, which was in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is beautiful. Guys, we're doing some big things here, and it's because of our audience. We got ranked out of the top 30 sleep podcast in the world. We got ranked number 7.
Yeah.
We got ranked number 7. And that number 7 is going to kind of correlate into the podcast that we have today with our guest, and we'll get there. But kudos to our audience.
Yeah.
Kudos to...
Do you think number 7 had to do with Kaylee Bishop?
It could, or our guest that we're going to have today. But yeah, the word... Didn't she do 7 minutes?
7 minutes. Yeah.
7 minutes.
You're used to 7 seconds.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good day. That's a good day. But no, her song about divorce, right? And she was married for a while, and it only took her
7 years.
And it took her 7 minutes.
7 minutes to sign the papers.
Now, what kind of divorce? Because I've been divorced twice. I'm kind of the subject matter expert on this topic. And 7 minutes. I guess to actually sign the paper.
Let's get to sign the documents, but let's get back to really the point at hand here is we got a lot of sleep podcasts out there.
That's right.
We're brand new. We're here, and our fans are really doing a good job of sharing this. Everybody who's out there listening, we do appreciate you.
Yep.
Continue to share with your friends, your family. Subscribe to the channels. Do all the things that you're supposed to do. I'm not sure what all those things are, but do all those things because it's helping us gain some popularity, and hopefully, we're providing some content for at least somebody that they get something, even if it's just one person that gets something out of it. But just so much to learn from all of our guests, and it's been very inspiring and motivational. And so just really thrilled to be a part of that. And
on a final note, to Handsome Dan and Brandon, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for providing a space. I think that this journey since
a safe space,
this journey since October, right, of 2021.
Yeah.
Dan?
October. Yep.
2021 has been a blast, and just so grateful. So with all that said, with all our partners, with everybody we talked about, we have a very special guest today, Brandon.
Tell me about her.
Well, I'm going to let her tell her about herself, but so how did I find this amazing person? So as you guys know, I love music. I love live music. And I believe that I found this person many, many, many years ago. But this is many, many years ago before there was the Facebook and the Instagram and all that fun stuff. But I'm a big fan of Willie Nelson. I'm a huge fan of how I grew up, John Cougar. Now John Cougar Mellencamp, then John Mellencamp. And our guest today, Pauline Reese, not only has experience with both them, but she has been a Texas staple in the music industry for quite a while. And I'll tell you right now, we couldn't be more honored to have you on the podcast, Pauline.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The big question that someone's going to ask right away when they look at all four of us, they're going to say, how in the hell did you find out about our podcast and why are you on?
Well, I didn't sleep much. I also am the expert on divorcing. I have two.
Look at us.
Under my, two.
There you go.
But then, I really think that that's part of being a real country music singer. You have to have at least 2 divorces to know what you're talking about.
So minus the talent and voice and playing music, I got that first part down. I got the divorces out of the way, so now I can focus on my music.
Well, it's probably 2 divorces, a couple dead dogs, and
True.
A pickup truck or 2.
Not even kidding.
Yeah.
We had to put one of our dogs down a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
We think a Cara grabbed the dog. It was a
sorry.
small dog boxer. So
I love boxers.
So
my
besides not sleeping, being expert in divorce,
insomnia.
I believe I reached out to you.
You did.
That's correct. Okay.
Yeah.
And I basically said, check this out.
I
See
could
what
have
you
been
think.
like, how in the hell do I sleep on my phone at night, like 3 a.m., like, oh, I can't sleep. I got to find some stuff. And I could have run across the podcast. There was that as well.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well,
Now,
go ahead.
Pauline.
Yes. Pauline, just like,
Pauline.
Is-
Pauline.
Sorry.
I'm working 2 divorces.
I mean, that's pretty Southern.
It
name.
is.
Country
It
as
is.
fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
CAF. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell me, like, is this a family name?
Thought about
Parents?
starting a band and
Where were
spelling
you
it that way, actually.
Yeah.
All women,
yeah.
CU. I'm just kidding. I hope my mom's not going to watch this.
It's all right.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
So I do a lot of joking on stage. A lot of comedy, a lot of talking, not just music. This is something that I say, and my mom had 8 children and I'm number 7. So
Okay.
hence the lucky number 7, part of that. But, I always say that she got to number 7 and her name is Sarah Pauline Reese. And so she was like, I don't know, just, I'm out of names. Just use my middle name or something. Just get it out.
Yeah.
Just give it a name. I don't care. She's
Yeah.
like, that is not how it happened at all. I thought about it for
so
years.
it's your mom's middle name.
It's my mom's.
But is it a
Okay.
family name? I know
It is.
Okay. My mom, Elizabeth, is passed down from another Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ironically, both of my great grandmothers on my dad's side and my mom's side, their name was Pauline, and it's a French name.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
Well, and
yeah.
I'll tell you, so that's, Brandon, you hit on something. I was actually thinking that too. You don't see a lot of Paulines.
No, you
No.
don't.
You just don't. And
No.
I think
People
that,
think it was made up because I sing country music.
Yeah, it's like your stage name.
right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's not. It's
Yeah.
Pauline, and
Now, do you have a middle name?
I do, and
Uh-oh.
it's Nicole.
Okay.
But when I was a little kid, my grandparents, they were German,
Okay.
but they lived in Mexico for many years. They lived in Argentina for many years. So they actually spoke fluent Spanish and German. And so I grew up with the Spanish culture. So every summer when I would stay with my grandparents, my little 5'2" German grandmother, if I would get in trouble, she would yell at me and say, Paulina Maria Guadalupe. So I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, who are you talking to? Were you talking to me?
I heard Pauline, and then there was something
yeah,
else.
and then there
Right.
was a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And for me, that's a sign of a true Texan is when you have 3 languages, you get confused. At night, I would say, out mit der Light, por favor. It's like, so I ended up learning Spanish and German, and a lot of my music is crossover,
Yeah.
actually, into the Spanish culture. I met Little Joe through Willie
Mm-hmm.
and El Gato Negro and Bobby Polito, Ruben Ramos,
Man.
because I worked at a Tejano station.
Right.
There was a radio station that was trying to compete with KVET.
Mm-hmm.
Ha! That's funny. But I worked there with Katie Key, who started the Texas music chart with her boss.
That's right.
Ed.
Can I ask what year that was?
It was a long time ago.
Okay.
It was 93. So I must have been like 7.
Yeah. But I can't believe you're on the radio at 7. Yeah.
I know. Most people weren't.
Hold on a second. How do you take your coffee? Dan, can you make her coffee?
Yeah.
She wants some coffee. How do you take your coffee?
Black with a little cream, please.
There you go.
That's supposed to be really great for singing.
It is. So black with little cream. Apologize. I just want to make sure we're serving you. Okay. So, hey, kids. So one of the things I was going to talk to you about was the East Texas culture.
Yeah.
And I did a little research on you, just very little. I like to get to know people. We like
a little
to get to know
stalking or research, whatever you want to call it.
I like to call it research. Yeah. So it sounds to me like your family moved to Mount Pleasant, Texas, before you were born or when you were very, very young?
Before.
Okay. So you were born there and that's where you grew up, correct?
Yeah, till I was about 10.
Okay.
And then we moved to Austin.
Wow. So
I've heard of it. It's east of here.
So even those 10 years. So I actually have connections to Mount Pleasant. There was another lifetime ago I played baseball, and Mount Pleasant was the home of Louisville Slugger.
Yeah,
and that's where they created it. And right around the time that the country music scene was getting set, I played baseball at Texarkana, and we were sponsored by TPX. TPX was Louisville Slugger. And we would go to Mount Pleasant and get these unbelievable aluminum bats. And back then they were, they're not the same aluminum bats now. They were experimental.
Oh man.
So
make
my
your hands
stats
ring.
were, no, my stats were increased tremendously. Yeah. You would just throw it out there to hit it, just go. But I loved Mount Pleasant and ended up having some deep friendships out of Mount Pleasant, Texas. And so when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, hardly anybody knows where Mount Pleasant, Texas, unless you're a baseball guy.
Much less Pittsburgh,
yes,
Texas.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you lived there till you were 10, then moved to Austin.
Correct.
Were you already singing by then?
Yes.
Okay.
So at age 5, I knew what I wanted to do. And apparently my mom did too, naming me Pauline, and raising me in East Texas.
Thank you, handsome Dan.
I had my Grammy speech when I was 5 years old on cassette. So I knew what I wanted to do. And I mean, I remember listening to Willie Nelson records that my mom had. She put her record machine up on top of the refrigerator in a shelf so that us kids couldn't get to it.
Right.
Good luck. I was up on top of the fridge every day playing records. And I remember hearing Willie. This is kind of funny. I remember hearing him and I thought, man, this guy, his voice, I was like, he's either going to make it really big because everybody digs it.
Yeah.
This is my little 7-year-old brain.
Yeah.
Or he's going to fail epically. I didn't know he was already famous, at the time. Yeah. I had no idea.
Well, I can relate. Hold on. So my mom was a hippie. Full disclosure. She liked the Beatles, the Stones. But it was so funny because she would play Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And I can remember because that's just what she did. She always played music. And I remember going, who listens to this guy?
Right.
This guy's horrible. Mom was like, you don't understand. He's a genius. Oh, no, he's not. He does nasally and all that. And then as I get older, I still don't listen to him. I respect him, but apparently he was a big deal. Willie in that regard, and you growing up. By the way, I think this is the first we have a Grammy nominee in our studio, everybody.
I think so.
Grammy nominee.
Hey.
Grammy nominee. And also Pauline. So Handsome Dan was up for sound and no, I'm kidding. Pauline was up for a Grammy and she had already been working on her speech since she was 5.
In the Latino division of all things, right? Paulina Maria Guadalupe came in
to
handy.
me, a Grammy's. Listen, we should have introduced you, the Grammy nominated Pauline. Do you agree? Yeah. I mean,
I can edit that.
We can edit it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could say, that's why we say Handsome Dan. Handsome Dan.
Handsome Dan says we're not editing that.
Oh, we're not editing it?
Yeah.
All right. So getting back on track. So the music that you were listening to, the Willie Nelson, at 10 years old, obviously you had already been singing, I'm assuming. Since 5, you already had your speech. So the move to Austin, was that because your father got another job? I remember he's an engineer. Okay.
Yeah. So my dad was a mechanical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
My mom worked at the store that they had in Mount Pleasant. My grandfather was the CEO of Houston Lighting and Power, which is now reliant.
Yeah.
He gave Don Jordan his job. And so they were big businessmen in Houston. My dad had 6 children at the time, and their son, my older brother, passed away of meningitis at 3.5 years old.
Oh, wow.
So the company he was working for sent him to Australia to get out of Houston, to get away, to, try to survive the trauma. And then they decided they didn't want to go back to the big city. So they literally pulled out a map, being an engineer, and did 3 hours from any large city in Texas.
Wow.
And they went, boom, Mount Pleasant.
Wow.
And so they
Thank
moved.
God you went to East Texas.
I know.
I'm sorry. I love El Paso. I love Lubbock. I love all you guys. Pat Green, rock and roll. Cool.
I would have loved Terlingua. That would have been fun. But, it would have been a class of 4 probably at the time.
Yeah.
So, I'm really grateful to have been raised there because it's just salt of the earth, down home, good people. I mean, Miranda Lambert's from over there.
Yep, Lindale.
There's a lot of people that it's just help each other mentality.
Right.
Borrow a cup of sugar type neighbors,
I will tell you, Pauline, so I just went to my 30th high school reunion.
Oh, wow.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And
you don't look like it. Must be all the great sleep.
Oh, thank you.
Is that it? And dental? Is that it? Sleep and
A
dental.
lot of nip and tuck. But I will tell you that, and we've talked about this in prior podcasts, I grew up in a music culture in Yukon, Oklahoma. Home of Garth Brooks, home of Cross Canadian Ragweed, just amazing musicians. But one of the things, and I actually wrote something to our class after the 30-year reunion. It was so awesome. And a lot of people don't say that, like, why would you go back? Growing up there, I would love for my daughter to have grown up there. It was just, and we could say it had to do with technology. No, it was just what you just said. Neighbors helping neighbors. Just it was just a good place. And our foundation there was built off of trust. Now we talk about with, come in before the street lights come on and all that, but also it was truly just about trust. I mean, my mom had to work a job after the oil field crashed in 83. And, I was what they call a latchkey kid. I mean, so you relied on neighbors and stuff. And so when I was reading about where you were from and kind of your story, I could kind of have empathy and go, oh my gosh, we moved from this big town of Houston, Texas in 83 and moved up this small town.
Oh, so very similar.
Yeah. Yukon, Oklahoma. That was in oil field in coring engineering. So it was just, I know what you're talking about. It was just like, I'm so grateful for that experience,
Me too.
plus being a diehard OU fan.
Yeah.
Growing up there was just so special, especially in the 80s.
He pulls his shirt. He pulls his
It's
shirt.
up here. We got it. Oh, you want it?
Well,
I can grab it for you.
it's good. No, it's
if you
good.
need
And
it.
the reason he's doing
I'm
this,
really
Pauline,
enjoying this coffee, by
Yes.
the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and Pauline, we won't make this about us, but both of our teams are in the College World Series.
They are.
And both of our teams went to the college softball finals.
College softball
Yes.
finals. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
To OU, phenomenal job.
Thank you. Thank you.
they-
Our girls are awesome.
They really are. Talking
It's
about
crazy.
offense.
One of our
And,
coaches in Dripping Springs, his daughter is Camille Corona, who plays for UT.
Yep.
And
She's awesome.
my daughter's play. I played. That
Okay.
was very big for me. And she has Camille's bats.
Nice.
I'm like, we should have had her sign it. We're
Yeah,
gonna have
no
to get her to
kidding.
do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bob's still coaching in Dripping Springs for the
Sweet.
select.
Yeah. See how we can
Small
all,
world.
Yeah. And I'm
So you have a prediction?
pain.
No, College World Series.
Oh, it's not my team's not even, no. We kicked butt in the super regional. I'm not as like after our girls softball team, come on.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we're there, and I'm not being cheesy. I have a lot of friends who went to Texas or Longhorns, and I just tell everybody, man, we're just grateful we're there. It's literally the SEC tournament plus Stanford, and then
Stanford's gonna be tough to beat, though.
because we're going to be SEC pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad we're there. And in fact, if they win today, then me and my other UT buddies are going to go up to Omaha and watch UT-OU game. But enough about us. Pauline, I think that transition back to Austin, because we were talking about that. He came over for another job opportunity.
Right.
You talked about the death of your brother.
Yeah.
So out of those rest of the 7 siblings, including yourself, did all of y'all move to Austin? Were there was it? Okay.
Age difference, big time. So there's a 20-year age difference between my youngest brother and my oldest
Kind of
sister.
like me and Dan.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
so yeah, my dad owned a Western Auto. He decided to do the small town living thing.
Wow.
So I grew up in a Western Auto, you know, where they
Yeah.
had go-karts and lawnmowers, and
Yeah.
they would also rotate your tires or whatever,
Turn a
change your
wrench,
oil.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I currently, you'll appreciate this, I think. Most
Okay.
people do. I just bought my daughter a 1985 Chevy Square Body with a lift and glass packs.
Nice.
It's fun.
I don't
I
know
took
what
her
it
to
looks
the
like,
dance. It's blue. It's Chevy blue.
Yeah.
Of course.
I like how she looks at Dad and goes,
Yeah.
it's blue.
Yeah, it's Chevy.
It's a blue car.
It's Chevy blue. I'm a 7th generation Texan. I know
Look
my,
at
my
you.
trucks.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
so I bought her that so she would learn how an engine worked. Because,
Yes.
you know, you look at my Cadillac and you go, hello, hello,
Yeah.
Alexa, Siri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Cars have
I
gotten
actually
crazy.
did this to my daughter. This is so great.
Oh,
She said, "How do I open the glove box? Because there's no handle, you know."
Yep.
And I said, "You say open glove box."
No, you did not. No, you did not.
It was payback for them making me do TikTok. She was like, "Open glove box." I said, "Say it with more aggression." She was like,
Oh,
"Open
no.
glove box."
You did not.
And I said, "Maybe you have to clap and then say
You
it."
did not.
What you should have done is got that on TikTok.
sorry, baby.
That would have been great content.
Okay, I still have it. Maybe
so good.
we'll put it on there.
So
Yeah.
Dan's trying to get us to do TikTok. First of
Yeah.
all, Brandon doesn't do any social media. Alyssa does.
Zero.
His assistant,
I'm
his assistant
so
handles it.
jealous,
His
actually.
assistant handles everything. But Dan he's almost got me there. I mean, we're so close to doing the TikTok thing. We are so close.
It's mainly the
I haven't been
dancing
pushing
that
it.
I think people would appreciate to see you guys dancing.
Well,
Yeah.
this guy
Well,
can dance.
I can dance. So
Yeah,
let's
that's-
just
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
make it very clear. I can dance.
I can dance.
So
Weren't
so
you one of the Backstreet Boys?
I
So-
can, man, I know all the moves. I'm dead
I
serious.
don't doubt that.
I love them all, man.
Yeah.
I love dancing. I was in show choir. Notice I did the
You
hands.
secretly listen to some stuff, like some boy band stuff, like
I don't
the
secretly
the
listen.
right stuff.
I'm not
You got
secret
the
about
right
it. New Kids on the
stuff.
Block,
New Kids on the Block.
NKOTB.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you have the sheets as a kid? My friend did.
No, well, hold on. On my wall growing up was Judas Priest, Motley Crue,
Ooh,
Kiss.
heyo.
But I appreciate all music. I mean, my favorite band in the world, we've said this, is Pantera. Number 2, Slipknot. But I promise you, I love Willie, Waylon. I know music. I love Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
One of our favorite musicians.
Tesla.
Love Tesla
Yeah.
is Mark Broussard.
Yeah.
JJ's right behind him. I mean, so I just like music. And speaking of music, so you move here now with the whole family moves,
Mhm.
minus RIP your brother.
Yeah, we've got a couple sisters that went to tech during that time. So they
Okay.
were off at college.
Okay, so
All
was it-
Texas Tech. Yeah.
Oh, really? Everybody was a
3 sisters
Okay.
at Tech. Yeah.
all right.
And then they ended up going, one went to A&M. She's kind of a college nerd.
That's all right.
She was a Florida Gator. She was a Georgia Bulldog.
Wow.
She went to
Wow.
University of Texas.
So she just kind of went around.
Like multiple degrees
Yeah.
or okay.
She's a nerd.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
we call that a
Yeah.
professional student.
Yeah.
Professional student,
Yeah, I
sure.
like it.
I call her a nerd,
That's all right.
but it's
I like
awesome. I can
nerds.
call her about anything. I'm like, hey, my friends in the music business want to know if this mushroom is safe. She's
Yeah.
actually,
But here's the
she's
good
like,
news.
don't do it.
Well, here's the good news. You have my number now, and I know plenty about mushrooms.
Perfect. Yeah, she doesn't
do
do
ya?
that stuff.
Oh yes,
She
I
just
do.
knows
ya?
all about them, doesn't even drink alcohol. It's
Right.
great.
Well, it's, how dare them mushroom people. Okay, so you come over here to Austin. So you're doing your formative years is what I like to call it. So
Yeah.
high school, middle school and high school here.
Correct.
So Pauline moves from country town
Oh, yeah.
to Austin.
Middle of nowhere country. If people don't know where Mount Pleasant is.
So how was that transition for you?
Okay.
And
so
you just
put it,
experienced the loss, right? The family
Mhm.
loss.
well, it was, though, that was before me. That was 7 years
Oh,
before
that
me.
was 7 years before.
He
you.
passed away. They moved to Mount Pleasant. Then I was surprised.
Woohoo!
Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, and I remember your mom going, I don't know what the name is.
Right. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. They just keep coming.
Right.
I don't know what's causing it.
Right.
So yeah, I
Ask your sister.
yeah, right. She'll be like, well,
Man, Pauline, if we got to explain this now, I mean, it is called sleeping around. I mean,
I do. I have the 2 kids, so I figured it out myself.
well, good. I mean, for someone
Mhm.
your age to only have sex twice, that's
I
awesome.
know. Isn't
Okay.
that crazy?
Um,
I'm very desired.
You
though.
are.
It's
So
a rarity.
you come. So y'all come. I'd love to hear about you in middle school, you in high school.
Oh my gosh. So put it this way. I remember my oldest sister Celeste was an architect here years ago and lived in Austin for many, many years. After college, she moved here. And she's still doing that. And so I would spend some summers up here. But I remember the first time she took me downtown, and this was a while ago, before the Frost Building and all of that.
Okay.
And I remember walking down the streets and going, oh my gosh, look how tall the buildings are.
Oh my gosh.
This is amazing. This is the big city.
Yeah.
The big city.
And Austin was nothing.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
Nothing.
This was 91.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. When I moved here. So I was just like, this is amazing. I've made it. My singing career is going to take off. Can feel it. And you know, looking back now, it was such a small knit community of musicians.
Right.
That were in the scene, that it was really like this small town that I had come from back then. And you would run into people, if you lived in Austin, you run into them at the grocery store. And once you got plugged into the scene. So I love this city with all of my heart. It's one of my favorite places, and I've traveled the world doing music. And I credit Austin for giving me the opportunities that I've had, and to be able to make a living as a truly independent artist, meaning I do all of it.
Yeah.
All aspects of everything. So yeah, this was a godsend.
So when did it happen? When was this, you knew you were into music, but you're middle school. How early did you jump into that scene, and what was kind of the
and where were your parents letting you go to 6th Street when you were a kid? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, which is funny, you know, I won't tell you how old I am, but my mom still checks in on me, and she's like, you're leaving at 9:00. I went to see my friend William Beckman at Green Hall. She goes, you're leaving at 9:00. Are you sure? That's pretty late. I was like, are you
Mom.
seriously telling me that right now?
Wait a second. I think me and your mom think a lot alike.
Do you know what I've been doing for a career for 29 years?
Yeah.
So when I was in 7th grade, I started doing voice lessons. I would take songwriter workshops. I took guitar lessons. I was already learning from my grandfather. My mom was a professional singer. My grandmother was a professional singer. My grandparents were professional artists. My dad played saxophone. My grandfather played saxophone. My grandmother's a concert piano player. So I was surrounded by it. My mom was the church choir director. So I figured out really quick that was not my gig, because I was raised Catholic, and the music was so monotone.
I was going to say
slow and monotone. And I was like, I'm a very energetic Dolly Parton clone, not in the ways that you were just thinking about just now.
I was not thinking.
I wasn't thinking
I do
anything.
have really big lungs and large hair.
You know, when anytime someone says the Catholic Church of Dolly Parton, you got me.
Right, right.
So you started, but I don't hear school in there. Do you hear that?
So
music lessons,
Music,
voice,
piano,
school.
Yeah, that was a part of it. So in order for me to do the things I was doing, I had to make straight A's.
Oh, wow.
And so I learned that school was memorizing things really fast. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. So like, I have a test tomorrow. Hang on.
Photographic memory.
Cool. Got it. All right. And then I would leave school, like high school, because I was making straight A's, and my teachers knew that I was in a band.
Where'd you go to high school?
Leander and Round Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Way out there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was literally Cedar Park, Cedar Choppers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were gypsies out there.
Oh yeah.
All my friends are laughing right now if they're watching this. So yeah, I took all these lessons, and when I was in Round Rock until 9th grade.
Okay.
And there was a music store on Main Street, and I was taking voice lessons and guitar lessons there. And the owner was a drummer in a band, and he heard me sing, and he was like, hey, you have a fantastic voice. It's very mature for your age. And why don't you come audition for our band? We could use a female singer. So the name of the band was Sierra, and the lead singer was Bobby Pounds, who has written a lot of great songs for Texas music artists.
Yeah.
And so I tried out. Turns out the lead guitar player in the band was one of my oldest sister, Celeste, one of her best friends.
Wow.
So I was in the band, so to speak. And at a certain point, Bobby wanted to retire, and he had had children, and his wife didn't want him on the road because they were touring around Texas.
Right.
So they said, we think we need to find a female singer. And me being sweet little country me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be great.
And a female.
I could do harmonies. I wasn't even
yeah.
thinking about me
Leading.
I was like, that'd be cool, but I wasn't going to be like, what about me, guys?
Right.
So I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. They said, we should audition some people. And I'm like, sure. So we auditioned at the Lumberyard. If anybody remembers that in Austin, it was a big venue, which turned into something else later.
Right.
And so we were auditioning, and one girl showed up late, and she had a great voice, and we didn't like that she was late, and she was kind of arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
One girl was sweet
Late
as pie,
arrogant.
but
tell me about it.
she was sweet as pie, but couldn't sing.
Right.
There were some women that showed up that couldn't play guitar and had no real stage presence, but they could sing. And so it was just never a perfect fit. At the end of the audition, the band said, we have one more girl, and we'll try her out and see how it goes. And have you ever considered, being the lead? I said, oh, I'd love to. Yeah, sure.
Wow.
And I said, well, I guess I should audition, joking around. And they said, well, let's see how this girl does. And I said, sure, yeah. So she's late. And I'm like, she is 20 minutes late. That is messed up. We can't have that at shows. I'm very professional. And I'm like, no. So they said, well, maybe she's just back in the back and locked out. They get up and go back there, and they pull out this giant banner that said, Anheuser-Busch proudly presents the Pauline Reese Band. It was a whole, they had set me up for the whole thing.
That is freaking awesome.
So then the band became mine at 17. Wow. And we were touring around Texas, opening for Gary Stewart, Johnny Lee, Johnny Rodriguez.
Love it.
And then all the Nashville acts that were coming into Texas, like David Kirsch. And I remember doing a lot of shows with Chris Ledoux because my style is kind of rockin' country.
Yeah. Rock and rodeo. I got a question for you. When you took that and they did the banner, were y'all doing originals? Or were you doing some covers?
We were doing originals. So I was writing all my own stuff from a very young age.
Wow.
And then when I was 15, I met a guy named Freddie Powers.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Powers has written so many #1 hits that George Jones cut, Merle Haggard cut, Willie cut. His two best friends are Willie and Merle. So I met them when I was 15 years old, and he got me up on stage. First time I met Waylon Jennings was on stage.
Wow.
And Chris Christopherson and Billy Joe Shaver.
I mean, guys, we're literally sitting one person away from royalty. I mean, it's blowing my mind.
Oh, it blew my mind. Because I remember those records on top of my mom's fridge, and I was like, I guess he made it. Good for him.
You.
That's fantastic.
And I'm not
so
trying to be
happy.
mean. Were you this tall at 15, 17? Because you're very tall.
Yes, yeah.
You're like, good for you, Willie.
Yeah, it's amazing.
No, I'm kidding. No. So wow. So you started touring at 17.
At 15, I was with the band at 15, the Sierra. And
then they changed to Pauline Reese.
Right, the Pauline Reese Band. Man. And my high school, I was in the choir.
I bet.
And because I was learning how to play guitar, and there wasn't a place for that band. So my teachers were very, very cool. I was in sports. I played softball. I ran track. I did volleyball. So
how did you have time for anything?
I have no idea. Don't know.
My goodness.
I blacked out.
Could you imagine dating Pauline in high school?
No.
When would you see her?
Well, she was just taller than I was.
I didn't have many boyfriends.
Pauline, what you got going on this weekend?
Didn't have many boyfriends. They called me a tease because they'd be like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. I have to go.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
That's actually a pretty good move. But no, I'm being serious. So the relationships, a lot of artist friends I have that started young, they matured fast. And I'm not talking that way. They matured fast because they were constantly around adults and making business deals.
Oh my
making
gosh.
Adult decisions.
Yeah.
Sleeping in vans, sleeping in hotels, travel, schedule.
Carrying weapons to protect yourself.
Right. Then you had to come back from a weekend of debauchery, whether you partaked or not, what you witnessed with your eyes, and then go back to high school.
Right.
And I just, many of my friends, and then you read about like a Mandy Moore who started at 14 and then she would go back to high school. That had to just be weird for you to come back and all these immature kids picking their nose.
Well,
Hey,
a
Pauline.
lot of the kids would come to my shows. So
Okay.
back then there were a ton of dance halls that like SPJST, Copeland Dance Hall, which is
Copeland's
back in
still around.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Dessau Hall. So there were a lot of venues around here, and I scheduled everything to be close when it needed to be close.
Right.
When it was far away, fine, and I'd take the whole weekend to be far away in Lubbock or wherever I was going, Terlingua or Corpus Christi. And so I was able to leave school because my grades were pretty good and my teachers thought it was cool. They're like,
there's a lot of support from the community.
There was a lot of
for you
support.
and the schools.
There
as
had
well.
to be.
Yeah.
There had to be.
So you got to tell me top 3 then. Dance halls in Texas. What's your top 3?
Oh, wow.
No pressure.
So Broken Spoke.
Okay.
I cut my teeth at that place.
Yeah.
And I rode my horse into that bar. James and Annetta were big supporters. I was one of the few country music females that was performing there. And they were good about that, good about starting to support females,
Love
that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There's some places just off the beaten path,
I figured for sure she'd say.
I used to love Copeland a lot. That was one of my favorites. I did a video there.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Barbara and Tim, they were really cool. They'd just big supporters of mine when I was a kid.
Right.
And I love Green Hall.
Of course.
That's got mojo, But there's a lot of ones that people don't even know about, like Twin Sisters, Fisher.
I know Fisher. Never heard of Twin Sisters.
Yeah, Twin Sisters is out there on the way to Blanco.
Okay.
That area. Yeah.
You're so dumb.
I'm not dumb. It's called Blanco.
It's not called Blanco.
Well, Pauline, I think
Blanco is a color.
I know.
Yeah, Blanco.
So I think this
And
is
cheese.
I think this
And
is
cheese.
a
And
good.
tequila.
It is a cheese.
That's true.
It's cheese. I love the answer.
And a tequila. Yeah.
All right. I love that we're talking about cheese and tequila. That's my kind. So, Pauline, now is the time in the show where I usually ask the musician to play a song. And I think it would be fitting if you played a song from the Sierra / Pauline Reese band days. Would you be open to that?
Sure. So I'll play one that I wrote when I was 18, just 11 years ago now. And
Man, it just seems like yesterday.
time just flies. This tune I wrote when I was 18 with a guy named Marcus Kennedy. And I wanted something different on the radio that nobody else was doing. So I kind of had this whole Marty Robbins, Chris Ledoux vibe going on. So yeah, we wrote this tune together and it did really well. Here's a story known to many about a road in Mexico. It's told to every cowboy riding out El Paso. If you go below the border, you can take the road by day. Don't get caught at sundown on the trail to Monterey. Now the year was 1836 at the Alamo, where a gang of Texas rebels fought a war in San Antonio. Many a grave now bears the name of the dead where they lay, but the ghost of one lost hombre rides the trail to Monterey. Some say he rides where religious fallen country. Some say he rides for a debt he never paid. But the only souls I know, they lie in Mexico. You can hear them, they tell a story of long ago. So beware, all you renegades, outlaws, rangers too. For if you ride the haunted path, you'll find this story's true. No one's ever seen Some say he rides a religious fallen country. Some say he rides for a debt he never paid. But the only souls I know, they lie in Mexico. You can hear them, they tell a story of long ago. About a trail women have paid, the trail to Monterey. Thank you.
Yes.
Gracias.
Oh. How old
That sounded like Spanish almost from the beginning.
How old were you when you
Paulina
wrote that?
Paulina Maria.
I was 18.
Senora.
Oh my gosh.
Ay, ay, ay.
I consider Dr. Brandon the one of the foremost experts, and I'm not just kissing his butt because I do a podcast with him, is sleep, right? And one of the things when I was up in Charlotte, and they were so kind talking about our podcast, because we are different. In the space where we're in the sleep world, there are some amazing people.
Love that sound. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. There's amazing people that are clinical and they have fun. What we do is pretty much unique to this space. But what I love to ask our artists, our CEOs, our real estate agents, our chiropractors, anybody we've had on is about their sleep. You had mentioned before we started shooting that you kind of Googled, you're like, oh my gosh, I have sleep issues. What I tell people is that you have this time now to be with an expert in sleep with Dr. Brandon. Talk to me about your sleep patterns, and have you ever had issues sleeping?
Oh my gosh, yes. So, in my previous marriage number two, yeah,
Dose.
yeah,
See, I speak
dose.
Spanish.
Yes, look at you.
Yeah, quite the learner.
I
Swag.
was quite the insomniac.
Okay.
Because it was really a precarious situation to be a country music singer and to have this persona. At the time, I was writing a cookbook and I'm, singing country music, and I have these two little girls, and everything's great. Everything's great.
And can I interrupt? And he was an amazing bull rider, or in the rodeo.
Saddle bronc.
Saddle bronc. Okay.
Saddle bronc
So
rider.
you are country.
Yes.
Writing a cookbook, country singer, two small, and then
married to rodeo cowboys.
Yep.
Most people are addicted to drugs. I apparently was addicted to cowboys for a while.
Yeah.
I've gotten help. Yeah.
Lord knows.
It's our recovery system.
I learned my lesson. So things were not great behind closed doors. And I tried desperately to save my marriage and get help. And none of the things that we did were helping the problem.
Of insomnia too, correct? Is that what we're talking
No,
about?
the problems that were going on behind closed doors.
Gotcha,
Nothing was
gotcha.
helping.
Gotcha.
And so I was just an insomniac. My nerves were shot. My anxiety was high. And, it's not like I was going to post on my Facebook, guess what happened, guys?
Yeah.
So I had to have this persona. And I think a lot of my sleep deprivation was just stress and not knowing what to do in a situation. So once I got out of the situation and I've had some time to be away from the chaos of what was going on, I have done a lot of studying, a lot of reading. I'm in groups. I'm, counseling, all kinds of things. Now I'm starting to sleep better.
Good for you.
But I still am not 100%. So because my schedule's so crazy.
Well, that's the other part of that is
Scheduling.
you have anxiety and stress and all the life shit that's happening. But then on top of that, you also have this schedule of traveling, touring, late nights, early mornings.
Right. So all the marriage anxiety, it's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
Since the divorce.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'm finally back on my feet. The chaos is now just normal life chaos.
Yeah.
So getting
Well,
up
but
at
normal life
5:30 in the
chaos.
morning with the kids to take them to school. And now I'm a single mom. So we were talking about scheduling today, but then sometimes I have a show during the week when the kids have school. So I'm getting in at 1 or 2 and then having to get up at 5:30.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for somebody who, a lot of us musicians are now, a lot of my friends are parents, and if they're single parents like me, you don't have a wife who is taking the kids to school and you get to sleep in on those nights.
Yeah.
You still have to be like, well, I'm up.
Well, yeah. So there's, and to be clear, my specialty is in the arena of dental sleep medicine, and it's in the arena of sleep apnea. So we can talk snoring and that kind of stuff. That's really where my specialty is. But obviously, we learn so much about sleep as we go through this. We had a guest on our show, Dr. Kathy Wilson, who is a board certified sleep physician and absolutely specializes in
and a great friend
and a good friend of ours in insomnia. And you know, the insomnia classifications, and we kind of learned something new when she was on our show. It's like you have to have consecutively a certain amount of nights where you are sleep deprived, less than 4 hours of sleep for however many nights in a row. So I guess the question is that like, what's your regular bedtime? Like when you're not doing a show, what time do you go to bed?
Okay. So I have the little alarm on my phone
Okay.
for 10 p.m. to go, hey, time to get ready for bed. So
Got it.
most of the time I'm falling asleep at 11.
Okay.
Does your alarm sound a lot like my father growing up?
What is that?
Time to go to bed. Lights.
No, that's me now.
Yeah.
That's me yelling at my kids.
So I didn't
Yeah.
know.
It's bedtime.
Yeah.
That's what
I said it's bedtime.
And
Yeah.
then the average morning.
Mornings are so random. Sometimes I can sleep in till 9. Sometimes, most of the time, because I do commercial real estate and ranching.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah, I'm up at 6:30,
Okay.
7.
So
Okay.
11 to 6, 7 hours. That's good.
It's not enough.
That's good.
Hold on.
I'm still stuck on 8 hours
Well,
in my mind.
I love 8.
Okay.
And obviously,
Okay.
and the reason we say 8 though is because you don't sleep from, it's the quality of sleep for that 8 hours. Everybody has periods of wake while they're sleeping. Nobody lays down, closes their eyes, and just stays asleep the whole night. Everybody has, levels of awakeness during that. But obviously, it should be minimal. 7 to 7.5 scientifically, from a bell curve standpoint, is the magic number.
That makes me feel so much better.
Some people do require only 5, and some people, small percentages, require 9 or 10. But the average people, 7.5. So I'm like, 8's fine. Shoot for 8. But if I get
7,
but if you get 7, I think you're doing good.
Okay, good.
And
Yeah.
Pauline,
Glad to hear
everything
that.
is subjective.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm part of the show. I'm the dumb. But I always look at subjectivity too. Like, how do you feel? So when I go speak to a physician for me personally, like, how am I doing? Yes, they can give me the markers of a blood pressure cuff, or we talk about AHI a lot in sleep, but I always go to, how's that person feeling? And what Brandon just told you on that bell curve, there are some people that have extreme sleep apnea, but man, if they sleep 5 hours a day, they're like, that was awesome because of what they came from.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Take the outside out of it. And it's so hard. I'm with you. I've been through some stuff in the last 4 years. But I could tell you, even outside of that stuff, sleep has got to be a priority.
Agreed.
The whole goal of this podcast, we have fun, we do this, but we're trying to educate people to say, you've got to make sleep a priority. And even most recently, the guru of motivation, Tony Robbins, has finally agreed after all these years.
Gotta sleep.
After all these years, because he would get up on stage and, I only need 3 hours of sleep, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
He's changed his tune
So
tremendously.
Life Force. So now he is all in. And so the more that we can get that out in social media and everything, is that if you're making sleep a priority, no matter what you do, I was listening to Bron.
Yep. You guys have the Calm app or seen the Calm
yes,
app? Okay.
I got a good one on this one.
This is a good app, and Jenny uses this, and so I get that. But LeBron was on the Calm app, and he has a series on it where he's talking about sleep and rest and all this kind of stuff. And he is talking about how we're talking one of the best basketball players that's ever played the game, not the best, but one of the best.
Right.
Controversial.
You're gonna argue?
I'm not gonna argue that at all. But continue.
We can talk about that later. But he talks about how in his daily schedule, sleep is the priority. Now, basketball players are traveling all over the place. They've got games at different times. They might have night games. They might have early morning, not early morning, but, midday games, depending on, the TV schedule and all that. And so he was talking about, well, when my game is set, I know that I'm going to get up a certain hour of time before that. And everything works backwards from first sleep.
Right.
So game time's here. I'm going to take a 2-hour nap here. I'm going to have my 8 hours here. Prior to that, and everything works backwards. And he really prioritizes sleep. Now, part of the problem is, how do you get to sleep if you're not tired?
Right.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Well, hold on. I think I can help you with this. So I have a Hollow app. The Hollow app is kind of the same thing, but for us Catholics. Anyways, it's meditation. It's all that. And so I was speaking to a friend of mine and she goes, man, I love that new Calm app is awesome.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. I go, well,
it's good stuff.
I go, well, what's so amazing to it? She goes, every night I get to go to sleep with Matthew McConaughey. I go, what? He does 2 meditations.
Yeah.
And so my joke is I drive a lot, I travel a lot, and I did green light and I did the audio and he does.
Yeah.
So by the time after 2.5 hours, I get out of the car, it's so funny. I go up to my doctor. I'm like, what's going on?
All right.
Are his mantras like, all right? All right.
I don't know. So ladies, you're going to have to help me with this. So he does 2 meditations on the Calm app that he speaks to it. And then she goes, I get to go to sleep with Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. I sleep beautiful. So in all seriousness, so there's different tools, right? For me, I have to be so regimented because I sleep in a different bed every night. Not being funny. I stay in a different hotel. So if someone were to take a picture of me, and probably I need to do that, Dan, I have to sleep with the same, everything exactly the same
You take your own pillow?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a neck pillow. It's strange. And then a certain blanket, certain heat and thing. I mean, but I have to set up my environment.
Right. I do the same.
Okay.
I bring my little diffuser
There
on
you
the
go.
road. When I'm in the mountains, I bring a tiny little humidifier that you can use a bottle of water.
Yep.
Because you can pack it really easy.
And speaking of water, you can use Richard's. I'm just kidding. Richard's rainwater.
Yeah, you can use Richard's. It's multi-purpose. You can make ranch water with the sparkling.
There you go.
Yep. So I love what you're doing because it sounds like you are making it a priority, but you also understand that there's going to be some nights that just are worse than others. And
for sure.
Then you just have to kind of get through that.
And you just have to
but the routine,
go through. And that brings me to a question for you, actually. And I haven't heard anyone on your podcast ask this question. How do you feel about naps and the length of a nap? Because that's very debatable over all these years. They're like, oh, the astronaut nap. And I'm like, no, I need at least 30 of actual sleep. So I plan for 40.
Perfect.
I don't know if you've watched or listened to all of our podcasts because we've covered. No, I'm just
I love naps. The question is are you napping because if you don't get enough sleep at nighttime, then a nap is a great thing. Now, if you're just getting shitty sleep at night and you're napping every day because you have to, because you're sleeping 8 hours a night and you're doing a 2-hour nap every day.
Right.
Then it's kind of like, well, is it because you're just not getting good enough quality during the day? So I have a lot of patients that when we treat their sleep apnea, they come back and they say, I used to take a nap every afternoon and now I don't need it. I don't find myself napping anymore because I'm not tired anymore when I get to the afternoon.
Right.
But I think if you're tired, you should sleep.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just listen to my body.
Yeah.
So if I had, for instance, I had a show on Wednesday and I got in at 12:30, which is not that late, comparatively speaking, to when I normally get in.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'd prefer if I can drive home and be in my own bed, then I try to do that. But yes, I've done the same where I just stayed in hotels, friends' houses for many, many years.
Yep.
But I didn't get in that late, but the next day I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
So tired. So I had to take a nap.
Do it.
Well, I got some.
Like you're catching up. That's your body needs that. Again, like listening to your body is so important.
And Pauline, I got great news for you. You'll be able to remember what we said, the number 7.
Yeah. Got it.
So the number 7, we started off the podcast talking about the number 7 and why it's important. Yes, you mentioned one of our favorite artists, Kaylee Bishop, 7, but also our new favorite artist, Pauline, has something to talk about with the lucky number 7. And if I'm not mistaken, is this some new recordings and a new album you have?
It is. So I this is, I'm going to give you the long story short.
You can do whatever.
We're
good.
So I feel like in the creative arts, I feel like the more you experience, the more you're able to give back. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how I look at it anyways, because God has put me through a lot of experiences. Uh-huh. Okay. One of those was my husband and I had lost our third child to a miscarriage. Mm-hmm. And in the process of this, you don't go to a hospital when you have a miscarriage. Right. It's unless you're in trouble. Well, how do you know what trouble is until you're in the middle of it? Right. And that's exactly what happened to me. And so I ended up losing too much blood, which then in turn caused me to have a stroke, mm-hmm. which then in turn caused me to not understand speech when I woke up from actually having to have a surgery, to stop the hemorrhaging and blood transfusions and on and on. And so after that experience, it took me a couple of months to really start being more normal again. I could understand speech on and off. I couldn't read. Everything looked like Sanskrit when I would hold it up. Wow. I couldn't be around light or any loud stimulative noises like a bar or my own children. It was very difficult. And Willie's daughter, Susie, came over and helped me with the kids. She helped me with laundry. My sisters came in and helped. My mom helped. It was, I spent most of my time at my ex-father-in-law's house in the dark with sunglasses on. Mm-hmm. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't read. I couldn't watch TV. So it gave me a lot of introspective time. And I started coming up with song ideas in my head and just stuff that I had never thought of before. And it's like it just opened up a whole new channel of creativity and inspiration, which inspiration means in spirit. Mm-hmm. And so this whole album was something that came from a trauma for me, for our family. And I'm hoping that it will help somebody else who has gone through something similar or who may run into that issue. There's so many women since I brought this up have come up to me and says, "Oh girl, I did that too." And they don't talk about it. Right. It's just kind of pushed down in their feelings and in their life. Life goes on, got to be tough. Right. And so this whole record is based behind letting my kids know that I would always be there if I didn't make it. Being spiritual, appreciating other cultures and other people. It's just this whole creative way of looking at things. It wasn't just another country record. Right. And it wasn't about, cheating or trucks or trains this time or my boots.
Yeah.
Which are partnered by Luke Casey.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. They're one of my partners, which is awesome. Old company.
Pauline, thank you for your honesty. I knew your story. And there's also something else that happened during that time with a broken neck and just it's.
Yeah. My ex broke his neck in a rodeo accident and I took 3 months off and that was really hard too.
Your journey and what we love about artists and just amazes us is that you're able to have these experiences, put them in a lyric, put them in a song, and then share them for that very reason. Mm-hmm. The only reason we do the podcast is that somebody will be listening, watching, and go, "Oh my gosh," Mm-hmm. So your story, and when this album comes out, is going to affect people. So you're taking tragedy, and it is, and you're turning it into that. I like you said, us creative people, but artists are able to take that tragedy and turn it into something beautiful. Mm-hmm. One of the quotes I like in your bio is talking about a phoenix. And it really sounds like from the ashes of a relationship, of a death, even your brother, it's like every time your family or you get knocked, it's like you go, okay. And I think that's a gift.
Yeah.
Very special gift.
I do too. I think it's something that, like I said, I think you have to experience these things. And I was told this at a very young age, Red Volkert.
Oh boy.
And a lot of other people, Mady K, my vocal coach, Marsha Ball, all these people I respected. They're like, you have to live it to write about it.
Yeah.
You have to live it. And
Yeah.
I don't just wear a cowboy hat because it looks, oh my gosh, it looks so cute today.
Actually, I look damn good in a
I
cowboy hat.
I forgot my hat and I was disappointed.
I'm gonna tell you, no, you're lucky. I'm not wearing one. It's crazy.
But I wear the hat because I need the hat because I do have horses. I ride, and having all those experiences and being able to write about them, I think is what makes a songwriter connect with their audience.
Agree.
And I love connecting with my audience. I love being an entertainer.
And I would love nothing more for you than to connect right now. Would you mind sharing something off the new album?
Sure, sure. I'm going to give you guys the choice. So I can do one that
Handsome Dan always gets it right.
Okay.
Always.
I can do one that I wrote for my daughters with Waylon Payne, who I love, love, love. And it was about respecting where you came from and doing the right thing, even if I wasn't there.
Right.
You know, if I didn't make it, I'd always be there for them. I have one that is really fun and getting a lot of attention live that is called Medicine Woman.
Why is it getting attention?
Because not many people do a Bo Diddley beat anymore. And I thought it would be really cool on this song. And it's just fun and the audience loves it. And it's also kind of just different, off the wall, not.
Sounds like the one.
Is that the one?
Sounds like the one.
You're feeling
That
upbeat?
sounds like the one. I've never heard the word Bo Diddley before, so I'm like,
Really?
let's
You
do
are
that.
So
He was an artist.
You don't even know what that means, right?
I don't know what it means. That's why I'm like, I got to hear
Bo Diddley
that.
beat is famous
Okay.
for the.
This
God,
is
I love
fun.
Dan. I love Dan.
All right, so this one's called Medicine Woman. Well, honey, here I come. I've got a wagon load, a million different words, putting on the show. I'm peddling my heart. He sees my careful walk, caught in a gypsy stare, and I know just the thing. Only if you dare step right on through, and I would do it all for you. Do it all, I'd do it all for you. Medicine woman, I've traveled all the land in a depression line. I bought and sold my love one too many times, but now those days are gone. And all the things I own, you are the one I need. And in your snake, oh smile, cure for my disease. It breaks my heart in two. I would do it all for you. Do Thank you.
Love it. No, thank you.
Woo-hoo.
That's good. That's cute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think you're cute. I know our time is coming up, but I definitely want to hit on a few things, Pauline. Besides this music career and your history in Texas music, I also know that you're in real estate, and I'm wearing a hat actually today. I ran into a bunch of ladies working or attending the Tom Ferry conference. I guess that's real big in real estate. And they bought me this hat and they said, hey, wear this on the podcast. So I said, cool, it's a Tito's hat. But the tie-in is that you're in real estate and you take it serious. And
I
the
do.
fact that you have a B&B and I mean, do you want to promote that as well?
Sure. Yeah, I have a couple of short-term rentals that I'm actually redoing now that I moved from Marble Falls to Dripping Springs.
Okay.
So they're not open so far.
Let me know. I need a place to stay when I'm here.
I will. And,
Besides AC Hotels,
AC
Hotel, South Austin, Hill Country. Man, besides those guys.
Screwed it up already.
Okay.
It's so new to your credit, that
Thank
whole partnership thing.
brand new.
So yeah. We have some acreage and some horses, and
Awesome.
it's just a fun place to come and to relax and stay.
How does one become, I mean, because you've already won Singer of the Year in Texas, Female Singer of the Year. I mean, and to pivot into another space in real estate and become your own, how did that happen?
So I was really prompted by my sister, who is the architect here in Austin. Her name is Celeste Reese.
Okay.
And she worked on the Capitol project.
Okay.
I mean, she's very well known for her architecture.
Okay.
So she kept saying, after my ex-husband broke his neck,
Right.
And his job just wasn't making it for our family, and my singing career, me trying to tour,
Right.
and you don't always make a ton of money in this business. It's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And so you struggle for a lot of years, and that's how it is. It's really just up and down. That's what I found. I've made a living. I support my 2 kids by myself with music.
Okay.
Real estate is a bonus.
Nice.
And so I'm able to, pull my horse trailer with a Cadillac, to
Yeah,
quote a
girl.
Chris Ledoux tune.
Tell you what, that's a damn song right there.
Well, I
So
think
that actually
she got me into commercial real estate.
Yeah. Well, but that's a testament to your music too, because I think the reverse is what happens for a lot of musicians is they don't make their money to support their family off of their music. They have to have the day job, and then the music's their passion and their fun. And the fact that you've been able to do that and make it in that way is just a testament to you and your music. So it's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Well,
Absolutely.
thanks. It's been a blessing to have real estate in my life, and I just love the connections that are coming together now.
Sure.
I'm also partnered with Lauren Concrete,
Okay.
because every country music singer with an ex-husband needs a concrete company.
Yeah. Sorry.
Too soon?
No. So let's talk about it. So let's promote. So how do they find you if they want to use you as commercial real estate?
So
Or you just umbrella it over everything?
you can email my name at Gmail, Pauline Reese at Gmail. And I have a booking agent for the music side of things, and then I handle the real estate side of things. So I do multifamily investments. I do restaurants. I put 3 restaurants in Marble Falls on the main street. If you didn't know that there was a main street, there is one.
Now you do.
There is one. It's off the highway.
Right.
Little plug. You're welcome, Marble Falls. I love you.
Yep.
And we also have Richard's Rainwater that you
Rainwater.
partner with. And
Yes.
those beautiful
My
Casey's.
Lucchese boots
Those are
that
my
she
fave.
partners with.
I'll tell you a story about Lucchese's. Can I tell a quick story about Lucchese's?
Yeah, please do.
Sure.
Yeah. I love my Lucchese's.
Everybody loves
Yeah.
Lucchese.
So I was shopping for some boots one day, and I had just gone. It was October. I was getting a Halloween costume at Lucy in Disguise down on South Congress, which is a great little place.
How old are you?
Shut up. And I saw your Halloween costume, Batman. And so I went into the what's the Allen's? Is it
Allen's Boots.
Allen's Boots?
Yeah,
Right around
Steve
the corner.
is the owner.
Perfect.
Mhm.
So I hop in there, and I had just gone to the gym. So I'm wearing tennis shoes, shorts, gym shorts, and like a tank top.
Went to the
I
gym.
think I know where this is going.
And I walk in there, and I'm like, and they look
I
at
need
me
some
like,
boots.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
they're like, who is this? Yahoo.
City Slicker.
And I'm like, well, I've kind of been wanting a new pair of boots, and I was just in the neighborhood, so I thought I'd stop in. And they're like, okay, well, let's go look at these boots. So they take me down the aisle. They take me to the 12s and 13s because that's my size. And
here we
start
go.
looking up and down. And I find this pair of boots, and I put them on my feet, and I slide into them. And I'm wearing my shorts, and I start walking around in my shorts and my boots. It's kind of funny. And the lady comes over and says, how do they feel? And I say, these boots feel like they were made for my feet. They feel amazing. They look fantastic. And she goes, well, that's great. And I go, how much are they? She says, well, you just have to look on the little tag over there. So I peel, and I go, yeah, I'm going to need something else.
What?
They were like, I don't know, $1,800 or something.
They're Lucchese's.
I know. So she says, well, we have some other Lucchese's over here, and they're more like in the $600, $700 range.
Yeah, for all the poor people.
And I said, yeah, I think I could handle that. So I found another pair, Giant Gator. They're amazing. They're fantastic. And of course, then they're like, we probably need a belt to go with those boots. It totally got me.
All right, listen, I worked at Shepler's boot department off of Meridian. My senior year of high school, I couldn't play football. I ended up getting injured. And my dad said, I'll never forget that. I go, well, I don't know what I'm going to do until baseball. He goes, hey, you're going to get a job. So I took a job at Shepler's. I'll never forget this. That's back when the rodeo was in Oklahoma City. And the very first day I ever took the job, I had to buy the whole outfit, right? And a lady came up and she said, I want to buy some boots for my daughter. And I sold her, back then they're called lacers. And this old timey guy comes up to me. Back then he's probably 40, but I thought he was old. He goes, listen, man, for every boot that you sell over there of Lucchese's, they give you a $50 bill. And I went,
Hey.
Every person, this is where the bug happened for me with sales, I'm sure. Like it'd be kids, it'd be adults, it'd be anybody. They come in looking for Justin Ropers. I'd end up having them on some Lucchese's, man, because that's spiff. Yeah. And I sold so many that I won a pair. And I did the Roper Nicotine Smooth Ostrich.
Oh, geez.
And they finally got stolen.
Yeah.
But what I tell everybody, because, I wear boots every day with my slacks, is that if you buy a good pair of boots, you'll have them forever.
Well, I'm from El Paso, so I was Justin Boots and Tony Lamas was what.
Yep.
What we like.
There's nothing wrong with those, by the way. Those are great.
Yeah.
But then these Lucchese's came along, and
Letty's is another great company.
Yeah.
They have
a lot of people don't know about them.
No, they were originally from San Angelo, and then they have another store in Fort Worth that's been there forever, and they have they custom fit to your foot. And so, Wilson, the owner's a good friend.
I'm sorry to go on a tangent about Lucchese's, but
we're talking about boots.
I love your boots.
Thank you.
They're fantastic.
You said boots with a T. It took you a second.
There's the drop.
Yeah.
You should see me when I have tequila.
Hey, there's the drop.
Next time we're doing tequila with her, and
next time she's coming on for the release and everything.
I'm working on that sponsorship. Maybe you guys can help me.
For your boobs?
No, for the tequila.
I didn't know if you're raising money. Sorry, I didn't know.
I mean, we can.
Well, let's do it.
It's fine.
Yes.
We're having a fun.
I don't know how I'll play guitar. I don't know how Dolly does it.
Big strap.
Okay, you were going on a tangent about
I was going
boots.
on a tangent about boots.
Boots.
On your feet.
Yep.
But
butts? What are we on butts?
We can talk about butts too.
Okay, geez.
And real estate. Marble Falls, you've done amazing things. We're going to talk more about commercial real estate. So email you.
Yeah.
Pauline
Sounds
Reese,
good.
Look at this.
gmail.com.
I love it. We're
Sounds
making
good.
deals. Yep.
Okay.
I'm a real live Beth Dutton at times.
And because we're going to talk later.
I'm going to wrap it up this way. So I think anytime that I don't believe in coincidence, I just don't believe in coincidence. I think connections happen for a reason and people come together for a reason. I don't want to stress, I want to stress this enough. Your story is amazing and it needs to get out there. Once we connected on social media, I read about your story. And that's why I said, I don't want to talk to you before because I wanted our audience to be blessed enough to hear this and follow you also. If you Google her, you'll see all the accolades, an amazing person, an amazing artist. Pauline, thank you for being on Sleeping Around the podcast.
Thank you both for having me. All of you. Thank you, handsome Dan.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Guapo Dan.
Hey,
Guapo.
I'll take
So
it.
what we're going to do is
Maybe that one's available on Instagram.
watch the show.
Yeah.
We're going to take a picture together.
Okay.
And then we'll have you.
I have one last question.
Never mind.
Just because
Here we go.
Well, she said I
Guapo.
I forget exactly how you say it, but you're pushing a Cadillac and you did it by yourself and all the things. And so you attributed it to the music. So do you have like a specific way that you write the songs? Like your methodology? Well, because everybody else seems to have that,
you're right.
that
We
thing
forgot
and
to ask
they're
that
like very
question.
structured with it and they want to sit down and do it, or you just like in the moment you feel it?
Oh man, I used to, before my iPhone, I would have stacks of papers and napkins and anything that I could write on. Then I met a singer-songwriter in Austin. She wasn't from here, but I adored her. Her name was Iggy Vaughn. I know she's still out there performing, so look her up, Iggy Vaughn. And she said, well, Pauline, you can just put these tabs in a book and then you can find the song you were working on. So I started doing that. And I kind of like having those journals so that my kids one day can go back and see how I was writing.
Yeah.
So most of my inspiration comes with the full song, with the melody and the idea. And sometimes I'll get just a hook line that'll pop into my head.
Right.
Like I'm writing one right now. He's may not be Mr. Right, but he's Mr. Right now.
Yeah.
Did she say she was writing one right now?
And I don't think
writing.
it's coincidence that
I'm
she met me.
writing.
I don't think it's coincidence at all.
I don't know. Just look me in the eye. I just read it, so I don't know.
And then
about
I
that.
will be your muse.
When the sun goes down and the moon is high.